Welcome to Deep Dive. We're here, as always, to take your source material, documents, reports, sometimes even manifestos, and really pull out the core knowledge you need.
And today, we've got something truly, truly unique on the table.
Yeah, this one. It doesn't fit neatly into any standard box, does it? We're looking at a document about ONPASSIVE, but it reads less like a business plan and more like a spiritual proclamation almost.
That's a good way to put it. It details their next big phase, focusing on something called Victory with Ash and the Era of Overflow. So yeah, our job today isn't really about technical specs.
No, not at all. It's about digging into the language.
Exactly. Deconstructing this very specific, highly motivational rhetoric. We're talking phrases like divine promise, era of overflow, and that central theme, victory with ash. We need to unpack what that actually means in this context.
Okay, so that's our mission for this deep dive then. Understand the core beliefs driving this, figure out the leadership philosophy behind Ash Mufareh, and get a handle on the stated tech goals. But crucially, it's about analyzing how they're weaving technology, faith, and business motivation together.
Right. It's a very particular rhetorical strategy. You see this fusion of innovation, hard tech, with this really powerful, almost religious inspiration. That's what we need to explore.
Why use this specific kind of language? What effect does it have?
Well, it immediately elevates the whole thing, doesn't it? When you frame a product launch not just as a launch, but as, quote, a prophecy fulfilled.
Yeah.
That's a deliberate choice.
It changes the stakes completely.
It absolutely does. And understanding why they make that choice is key to understanding the kind of commitment they expect from their community, their founders.
All right, let's jump straight into the scale of what they're claiming here. The document calls it the dawn of a new chapter. And right off the bat, it's not just described as a tech milestone.
No, it's explicitly called the fulfillment of a divine promise.
Okay, starting there. Divine promise. What are the implications of leading with a phrase like that in a tech or business context?
Oh, the implications are huge. I mean, think about it. It moves the entire venture beyond typical business risk, doesn't it?
How so?
Well, if something is divinely promised, its success isn't just likely, it's guaranteed, right? It's preordained.
So it kind of short-circuits doubt.
Exactly. It aims to preempt criticism, doubt, the usual market jitters you get with big tech launches. Because the validation isn't coming from the market, it's coming from, a higher authority, according to this text.
It grounds the whole thing in certainty from the outset. Interesting. And it's not just about immediate results either, is it? The document says this system wasn't built just for today.
Right. It's for tomorrow, for the generations. That's the claim. Generations who are supposed to benefit from all this automation, trust, and prosperity they talk about.
That really shifts the perspective, doesn't it? From quarterly earnings to, legacy building.
It positions Ash Mufareh not just as a CEO, but as someone building something enduring, something perpetual. It makes participation feel less like a transaction and more like being part of history, a generational shift.
And this transition moment, this dawn, it's described using some pretty intense language, too. It's when belief meets reality.
And preparation meets revelation. That phrasing is very deliberate.
What's the function of that, do you think?
I think it's the payoff structure, built right into the narrative. For the community members, the founders, many of whom have presumably been waiting maybe for years.
Right, through development cycles and so on.
Exactly. This moment is presented as the final validation of their faith, their patience. The waiting wasn't delay, it was the necessary preparation. The launch isn't just a launch, it's the revelation.
So it gives a kind of moral justification to the whole process. It frames potentially long development times as essential refinement.
Precisely. It wasn't wasted time, it was time spent becoming ready for the revelation. Which leads us directly to the central figure here.
Ash Mufareh.
Yes. The narrative makes him absolutely central, non-negotiable. The upcoming chapter isn't just victory, it's specifically victory with Ash.
That framing is very specific. It's not our victory or ONPASSIVE's victory. It's tied directly to him.
It absolutely singularizes the success. He's presented as the architect, the sole visionary who built this whole thing for the future. The destiny of the company, the community, it's all tied explicitly to his personal vision and, importantly, his integrity.
It sounds like a classic visionary leader model, but maybe amplified.
Amplified through that prophetic language, definitely. It implies that questioning the project or the timeline is tantamount to questioning the visionary himself, and by extension, the divine promise. It's a powerful binding mechanism.
But then there's this other statement they make. Victory's not coming to us. It's already in us. How does that fit with the focus on a single leader? Seems a bit contradictory.
It's a clever balancing act, actually. Mufara provides the vision, the plan, the moral direction. But the potential for victory, the readiness for it, resides within the community.
Okay, so the leader manifests it externally, but the community has the internal capacity.
Sort of, yeah. If victory is already in us, it suggests the founders are inherently worthy, inherently prepared for the success Mufara is delivering. It validates their journey, their character development during the waiting period. It gives them ownership of the success, too.
Got it. And Mufara's own philosophy is presented as the anchor for all this, rooted in integrity and purpose. There's that key quote.
You can dream it with integrity, you can live it with purpose.
What's the role of integrity there? It seems crucial.
It's the ethical safeguard, the moral prerequisite. It suggests that the success coming through ONPASSIVE isn't just any success. It's success earned through being morally sound. It's not about exploitation or cutting corners.
So it acts like a filter. Only those operating with integrity can truly achieve the purpose.
That seems to be the implication. It separates this venture, rhetorically at least, from purely profit-driven motives. Integrity is positioned as the essential ingredient.
Which means this next chapter, this victory with Ash, isn't just about launching products. It's framed as proof.
Proof that faith always finds its finish line. That's the language they use. It's the moment where the internal belief system, faith, dreams, gets validated by external material success.
Faith becomes fortune, dreams become destiny.
Exactly. It's the culmination point in the narrative. The entire journey, the waiting, the preparation, it all gets justified by the promised reward. The document essentially functions as a guarantee. Your belief, your loyalty, it has a tangible, perhaps financial payoff coming. It closes the loop.
Okay, let's shift to how they actually define victory or winning, because this is where it gets really interesting rhetorically.
It really does. They take a common phrase Mufara apparently used, "we are in it to win it," and they redefine it.
How so?
The source claims he didn't mean winning as in competition against others. He meant winning as in completion.
Completion, as in finishing the task.
Finishing the task, way beyond. The victory is defined by elevation, explicitly not ego. It's about purpose, explicitly not pride. This frames the whole thing in almost altruistic terms, even while financial success is clearly part of the promise.
It keeps the community focused on higher ideals.
And it clarifies where the power truly lies, according to this narrative. The document insists the core power isn't just Mufara's genius.
What is it then?
It's the power of all, the collective.
Reinforcing that communal aspect again.
Which is absolutely critical if you're trying to maintain loyalty and motivation across a huge global community. If the power resides in everyone, then every single founder isn't just a customer or an investor, they're an essential part of the engine making the billion-dollar breakthrough happen.
It gives everyone a stake, intrinsic value.
Makes the success feel shared, like a resource that lifts everybody equally, which then leads into the mindset required to handle the success.
The mindset of winners. This sounds less like business strategy and more like self-help or spiritual discipline.
It absolutely leans that way. The core assertion is that victory begins in the mind. It has to be there first before it can manifest externally in the marketplace.
And there are specific instructions for achieving this mindset.
Oh yeah, very clear actions prescribed. Think big, act bold, move in love, serve with joy.
Wow. Move in love, serve with joy. You don't usually see that in tech manifestos.
You really don't. It's about aligning the community's internal state, their psychology, with the sheer scale of the external vision. They need to shed limiting beliefs, doubt, small-mindedness to be sort of worthy of the coming overflow.
Intentionality is a prerequisite for gain.
Exactly. But then right after these incredibly bold, almost aggressive commands, act bold, think big, they introduce something quite different.
What's that?
A leadership tenet. Humility is the highest form of leadership.
Humility after act bold. That seems like a contradiction.
Or maybe a necessary counterbalance. I think humility, in this context, functions as the check against the potential arrogance of making such huge claims.
Okay, so it keeps the maximalist vision grounded somehow.
It suggests that even though the goals are revolutionary, turning belief into billions, the approach must remain humble, ethical, service-oriented. It allows the leadership to wield prophetic authority while assuring the community it's not about ego, it's about grounded purpose. It navigates that tension.
Interesting. So Ultimately, this on-passive mindset, it's not about fitting into the current market.
Not at all. It's about creating transformations. They state it very clearly. They didn't come to follow trends or play the existing game.
They came to change the game.
That's an incredibly bold, uncompromising statement, isn't it? It positions ONPASSIVE and its founders as pioneers, fundamentally reshaping how things work, not just tweaking the current system.
Operating on a different level entirely.
Based on this blend of moral principles, unwavering belief, and the claim of technological completion, this belief system is designed to fuel action, even if it flies in the face of established industry practices, because they see themselves as driven by a higher purpose.
Okay, let's move from the philosophy and the mindset to the actual, well, the work. The document talks a lot about the strategy of silent preparation.
Yes, this is key to how they frame the timeline. They attribute years of development done quietly behind the scenes to prepare for what they call, and this is bold, the greatest technological surprise of our time.
Which is the next evolution of their ecosystem, the OES.
Exactly, the ONPASSIVE ecosystem. And that phrase, silent preparation, it does a lot of narrative work.
How so? What does it achieve?
Well, first, it justifies potentially long development periods. It suggests the work was so groundbreaking, so complex, maybe even so world-altering, that it had to be done away from public scrutiny. Secrecy implies significance.
Right, it builds anticipation and mystique.
And it frames the entire process not as a series of potential delays or setbacks, but as an inevitable, destined march. They literally say every code line, every test, every meeting was a step toward destiny.
So human effort coding, meetings, is explicitly linked to that divine promise or preordained timing we talked about earlier.
It merges the practical with the prophetic. The development work wasn't just engineering, it was fulfilling a schedule set by destiny. Setbacks weren't setbacks, they were just part of the destined path.
And this justification extends to the community too, the ones who are waiting.
Oh, absolutely. This might be the most crucial psychological piece. The source claims the waiting wasn't wasted because it was, quote, shaping us.
Shaping us, meaning the waiting itself was productive.
Productive in terms of character building. It reframes any frustration or impatience over delays into a necessary exercise in developing resilience, faith, and patience.
Wow. So the system they're building is supposedly so powerful, so revolutionary.
That only those who have been properly shaped by the waiting the loyal founders can actually handle it. The implication is that impatience or doubt would mean you weren't ready for, or perhaps worthy of, the power of the OES.
It validates those who stuck around, making them feel uniquely qualified, maybe even morally superior to those who left.
Precisely. Their resilience becomes the entry ticket. It proves they have the necessary character to receive the reward. Which brings us to the OES itself, the technological engine.
Right, the product suite. The document says all these different products. What was it? Breathe in perfect rhythm.
Yeah, see? Even the description of the tech stack uses this organic, almost mystical language. Perfect rhythm suggests seamless integration, no friction, no bugs, just harmonious operation.
Driven by that overarching purpose of empowerment we discussed.
Exactly. The product descriptions aren't really about features and functions in the way a normal tech company would present them.
They're more like utopian promises.
That's a great way to put it. Let's break a few down. Look at communication tools.
OConnect and OChat.
OConnect is about breaking barriers. That implies universal, frictionless global communication. OChat is where hearts find connection. It's not about message limits or video quality. It's promising deep, genuine human connection through the tech.
The tech is tasked with achieving emotional outcomes. What about the financial side? OWallet, OShop.
Again, framed with a moral dimension. OWallet promises finance finding fairness. Right away, it sets itself against the perceived unfairness of existing financial systems.
Implying the OES system is inherently more just.
That's the claim. And OShop isn't just an e-commerce platform. It's where businesses find global reach, described as the virtual marketplace of dreams.
Dreams. So it's positioned as an equalizer where small players can achieve huge potential.
Exactly. The focus is always on the aspirational outcome, the fulfillment of potential, rather than the technical logistics. Then you have tools for trust and identity.
Verify. Identity finding trust.
See the pattern. Every component is linked to achieving some higher order value: fairness, connection, trust, dreams. They also list core systems like O-Tracker, O-Net, O-Desk, O-Virtual,
But the language stays consistent,
consistently focused on the positive, almost moral outcome associated with each tool. Everything works together towards that larger purpose of elevation and empowerment.
which leads to the overall framing of the OES. It's not just software.
No, it's presented as an empire of empowerment. Think about that phrase. An empire suggests scale, self-sufficiency, maybe even dominance, but it's an empire built for empowering its citizens, the founders.
A benevolent empire built on integrity-driven tech.
That's the narrative. It shifts the whole perception from just being a company selling software to being a force for global good.
And practically speaking, what does this empire do for the individual founder according to the source? How does the empowerment actually work?
It's framed as providing keys. Each product, whether it's for chat or finance or tracking, is described as a key to unlock your personal and financial potential.
Unlocking potential.
So it's an enablement platform, designed explicitly so that, quote, ordinary people can do extraordinary things. And they specify this empowerment happens on multiple levels:
Which levels?
mental, digital, and financial. It's a complete package.
Okay, so mental empowerment comes from adopting that winner's mindset we talked about.
Right. Believing in the overflow, thinking big.
Digital empowerment comes from having access to this seamless, integrated OES toolkit.
Giving them the practical means to operate globally, connect, transact fairly, etc.
And financial empowerment is the end result, the overflow, the payday that comes from the system working.
Exactly. It's presented as this holistic transformation. The founders develop the internal character through the preparation phase, and then the ODS provides the external mechanism to translate that character into tangible global success. It all ties together.
We've touched on faith being central, but let's really dig into the commitment demanded from the founders. The source calls it faith beyond sight.
Yeah, this is where the psychological contract gets really explicit and frankly demanding.
What was the core requirement?
Believing before you see results, absolute trust in the unseen vision. The text makes a very clear distinction between the loyal founders who kept the faith and the doubters and questioners who presumably fell away. It states very clearly that the reward belongs only to those who trusted when there was no proof.
That's a powerful framing. It creates a strong in-group, out-group dynamic, doesn't it?
Absolutely. And it does something else crucial. It retroactively validates the loyalty and patience of those who stayed. Their waiting wasn't just passive, it was an active demonstration of superior faith and character.
Making their eventual success feel earned, not just lucky. It's a reward for their moral steadfastness.
Precisely. The psychological payoff is immense. We were right when others doubted, we held on. It directly links that abstract belief to concrete material gain, faith transformed into fortune, dreams transformed into destiny.
So abandoning the vision isn't just changing your mind. It's framed as a kind of moral failing. You lacked the necessary faith.
That's the strong implication. Giving up means you forfeit your claim to the destiny that was promised. This level of required loyalty makes sense when you consider the scale they're aiming for.
Which they describe as the global family unfolds.
Right. The movement isn't local, it's explicitly global, rising from east to the west, from the north to the south, uniting founders from every nation under this one ONPASSIVE banner.
Why the emphasis on global family? What does that achieve strategically?
It positions ONPASSIVE as something much bigger than a company. It's almost like a diplomatic or humanitarian project using technology. The claim is that this victory isn't confined by borders, it's a worldwide awakening.
So it transcends nationalism.
That's the idea. The source says success comes from collaboration, trust, and visionary unity across cultures and continents. It elevates the mission beyond simple business expansion.
And the technology itself, the AI and the OES, is presented as the tool enabling this.
Yes, it's the connective tissue. The tech is meant to connect continents, empower cultures, and weave humanity together. It transforms what could be seen as just a global IT infrastructure rollout into a unifying force for humanity.
A movement of miracles, as they put it.
Driven by the leader's vision and integrity, operating on a scale that aims to supersede national interests. It provides the highest possible justification for demanding that unity and trust.
Which brings us back to the journey itself and the payoff for sticking with it. They call this the reward of resilience.
Yes, and this is where the document directly acknowledges that the path might have been difficult. It explicitly states the victory belongs to those who didn't quit during challenges, doubts, or delays.
It validates the struggle.
Completely. Resilience is defined here as the true definition of faith in motion. The hardships, the waiting, the doubts, they are all retroactively reframed as necessary tests.
Tests of character.
Exactly. Enduring the process was the proof of faith. If you didn't endure, you didn't pass the test.
And Ashmufare is held up as the prime example of this resilience.
Yes, the leader who led by example, never backing down, never compromising the vision, no matter the pressure or the time involved, he embodies the resilience required.
So what's the explicit promise for demonstrating this resilience? What's the reward?
It's very direct, very personal, and clearly material. The text promises, your patience have a payday, your endurance has a reward, your faith has a future.
Payday, reward, future. Pretty clear language.
Unmistakable. It's the ultimate reassurance that the internal investment patience, faith, endurance will be met with a tangible, external financial return. It closes that loop. You suffered, you endured, you believed, and therefore you deserve the coming prosperity. The sun of opportunity is shining specifically for you, the resilient founder.
Okay, so we've gone through the setup, the philosophy, the tech, the required mindset. Now we reach the climax of this narrative, the era of overflow.
Yes, overflow. That word choice is critical.
What does it signify? It's not just profit or success.
No, it's far more maximalist. Overflow suggests an abundance that's overwhelming, uncontrollable, maybe even spilling over indiscriminately. It's not a trickle, it's a flood.
A flood of what?
Blessings, connections, opportunities, financial abundance, all converging into one magnificent manifestation. It moves way beyond standard business language like growth or returns.
That sounds almost biblical, like cup runneth over.
That's exactly the kind of resonance it evokes.
Right.
And importantly, the document is very clear. This isn't luck.
Right, they define it as legacy, not luck. What's the significance of that distinction?
It attributes the success entirely to intentional design, Mufare's vision, the community's faith, and the system's inherent capabilities. It removes chance or fortunate market timing from the equation entirely.
So the success is deserved and maybe reproducible.
That's the implication of legacy. This isn't a one-off windfall. It's a system designed to sustain this level of abundance potentially for generations. It solidifies the idea that reaching this point was inevitable given the integrity and preparation involved.
And the OES products, how do they feature in this final overflow phase?
They reappear, but now they're redefined as the actual mechanisms of this abundance. Their final metaphorical roles are assigned.
Such as?
OWallet isn't just for transactions anymore. It becomes the digital treasure chest, not just holding funds, but holding this overflowing, potentially limitless wealth.
Okay, and O-Connect.
That becomes the bridge to the world, enabling infinite connections, infinite opportunities flowing through it.
And O-Shop, the marketplace.
That's now the virtual marketplace of dreams, the engine where all those individual ambitions, fueled by the winner's mindset, finally get realized on a global scale. The products become the tangible keys unlocking the prophetic reward.
Got it. So this all builds to the final declaration of victory. This sounds like the ultimate call to action, or maybe declaration.
It is. The language becomes intensely prophetic here. The community, the founders, are urged to declare themselves the generation of victory with Ash.
Claiming a historical role for themselves.
Exactly. They're told they witnessed something extraordinary. A man turning a vision into a revolution. They saw belief become a billion-dollar breakthrough.
That phrase again. It's the ultimate validation faith leading directly to massive financial success. Proof of concept.
The moment the prophecy is undeniably fulfilled in the material world, and the culmination is framed as nothing less than world-changing.
How so?
It's positioned as the moment innovation met faith and the world changed forever. They claim to have turned the years of silence, that preparation phase,
into global transformation.
It's the absolute fusion of the technical achievement and the spiritual journey. This victory isn't just a corporate win. It's labeled a prophecy fulfilled, the voice of unity, the very sound of digital liberation.
Digital liberation.
Yes. The language aims for total transformation, positioning the OES launch as this unstoppable freedom-granting force that alters human history. And the founders. They rise with it, stronger, freer, and unstoppable. It's the final, ultimate reward for their unwavering faith beyond sight. #outro.
Wow. Okay, so we've really unpacked a document that operates on multiple levels simultaneously, haven't we? It's part tech roadmap, part spiritual guide, part loyalty contract.
Absolutely. It masterfully blends the language of high-tech innovation with the unwavering certainty of prophecy and deep spiritual commitment.
The key themes really stand out now. That constant intertwining of the technology itself with this unwavering belief system, the emphasis on global unity under one vision, and that ultimate promise of comprehensive overflow.
Right. Overflow mentally, digitally, and financially. The whole structure seems meticulously designed to validate the founder's journey. Every stage, even the waiting, is given meaning and purpose.
Turning them from passive waiters into active pioneers, every dream gets direction, every action has purpose.
It functions as both a business plan, in a sense, and as this incredibly powerful emotional and psychological reinforcement for years of dedication and belief. It's quite a construct.
It really is a fascinating look at a very unique communication strategy in the broader business and tech world. You see this direct equation. Rigorous technical preparation, every code line, every test is presented as being the same thing as divine timing or prophecy fulfilled.
Yeah, the goal articulated isn't just building a successful company. It seems to be aiming for a new kind of global order, driven by these principles of integrity and purpose, enabled by their technology.
And that core mechanism we kept seeing using spiritual language to justify timelines, demand absolute loyalty, and reframe potential setbacks as necessary character tests.
It provides the community with a really potent framework for making sense of their entire experience, doesn't it? It gives meaning to the struggle.
It really does. Which leaves us with a final thought, something for you, the listener, to consider after this deep dive.
Mm-hmm.
When a global tech organization like this defines its success not through competitive benchmarks, but through fulfilling a prophecy and achieving a guaranteed overflow, how does that fundamentally change the game for the community involved? What does it do to expectations? What does it demand in terms of commitment?
That's the core question, isn't it? If your success, your payday, hinges entirely on maintaining faith beyond sight, what does that imply about the level of scrutiny you're expected to apply versus the level of sheer dedication and character you need to demonstrate to ultimately claim that reward?
It's a fascinating dynamic to think about.